Freeholder Bergen.
Present.
Freeholder Carter. Freeholder Estrada. Freeholder Granados.
Present.
Freeholder Kowalski. Freeholder Mirabella.
Present.
Freeholder Wright.
Here.
Vice Chairman Jallo.
Here.
And Chairman Hudak.
Present.
Chairman, you have 7 freeholders present.
Thank you. Jim, please lead us in the prayer and salute to the flag.
Humbly we ask God, the giver of peace and the lover of charity, to give the entire family of nations true agreement with his will, and to grant the light of his spirit on all who work for justice and peace. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Jim, please read the statement of compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act.
Chair wishes to announce that pursuant to requirements of New Jersey statutes annotated Title 10, Chapter 4, Section 10 of the Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting of the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Union has been given by mailing the annual meeting schedule for the year 2014, along with periodic changes necessitated by circumstances, to the newspapers circulating within the County of Union who are designated to receive such notice, and by posting the annual meeting schedule for the year 2014 in the Administration Building, and further by filing the annual meeting schedule for the year 2014 with the Office of the County Clerk.
Thank you. We now have communications for approval. May I have a motion to approve communications?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion was made by Freeholder Mirabella and seconded by Freeholder Kowalski. Mr. Clerk, please read the roll call.
Freeholder Bergen.
Yes.
Freeholder Granados.
Yes.
Freeholder Kowalski.
Yes.
Freeholder Mirabella.
Aye.
Freeholder Wright.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Jallo.
Aye.
And Chairman Hudak.
Aye. We now have
7 votes in the affirmative.
Thank you. We now have minutes for approval. They are all executive session minutes for the following dates: February 27th, March the 6th, March the 20th, March 27th, and April the 10th. May I have a motion to approve those minutes?
Second.
Motion was made by Freeholder Kowalski and seconded by the Vice Chair. Mr. Clerk, please read the roll call.
Freeholder Bergen.
Yes.
Freeholder Granados.
Yes.
Freeholder Kowalski.
Yes.
Freeholder Mirabella.
Aye.
Freeholder Wright.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Jallo.
Aye.
And Chairman Hudak.
I'd all with the exception of March 20th. I will abstain from that one.
Chairman, you have 7 votes in the affirmative for all the minutes, with the exception of the March 20th, 2014 executive session, with 6 votes in the affirmative and 1 abstention.
Thank you. We now have an ordinance for adoption. Mr. Clerk, would you please read the ordinance by title?
Ordinance number 757, 2014, an ordinance fixing the salaries of the department heads as amended.
Okay, this meeting is now open for public comment for purposes of commenting on this ordinance only, 757-2014. Kindly state your name and town of residence for the record and adhere to the 5-minute time limit.
Good evening, Chairman Hudak, ladies and gentlemen of the Freeholder Board, Bruce Patterson Garwood. This year, the Union County budget actually passed $500 million, and we're looking at people possibly getting raises. I think because the public is now aware that we're talking about $500 million budget, this could very well be part of the reason why. I would like somebody to run down exactly who this is involved and what their salary is going from and ending up at. Thank you very much.
Tina Rena Cranford. For the people at home, what this ordinance is, you are setting, you are giving your department heads raises. So I believe they're all getting 2% raises, and I'd like to ask you to confirm if any of your department heads aren't getting raises. For instance, is Director Graziano getting a raise, despite his having his job duties practically slashed in half when he had, you took away engineering and parks and maintenance. So the way I see it, he has much less job responsibilities. Is he getting a raise? He was also the supervisor of Neil Palmieri, who is awaiting sentencing for his nefarious deeds here. He was shaking down vendors. I believe he was caught with $400,000 of at least that much, and Graziano was his direct supervisor. You had no idea that this was going on. No idea. So never held accountable for that. I'm wondering tonight if you can confirm that he is getting a raise. And a little bit off topic, I've never heard of you going after Palmieri civilly for that money. I will get back to it later.
Brenna, this comment period is only for this ordinance.
Yeah, I know. Don't waste my time.
Then have
Guzzo, Frank Guzzo,
ma'am,
is he getting a raise?
to the ordinance.
I'm sticking to the ordinance. You're trying to run out my time. Frank Guzzo, is he getting a raise? You have $100,000 appropriating funds for a lawsuit that just arose from.
Ms. Brenna, that is not.
Is that not the ordinance?
No, it is not the ordinance.
You're not giving department heads raises.
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Well, that's what I'm speaking to. Is
Speaking of things-
Frank Guzzo getting a
And we're
raise?
not going to do it back and forth either.
You're
Finish
you
your
are
comment.
interfering with my free speech. I am speaking to the audience. I'm warning you. You're telling me I can't speak on this issue. You're giving employees raises, and you're telling me I can't speak on this issue. I'm warning you. You are interfering with my First Amendment rights. You're telling me I can't speak on this.
Absolutely not.
Thank you. You just stopped me from speaking on this ordinance.
No, you still have time. Yes.
Are you 12? Are you 12 years old?
Ma'am, you're out of order.
Frank Guzzo shouldn't be getting a raise. People are getting sued. And neither should Norm Albert, who misrepresented you this year over your county seal. He lied. He lied. As an attorney, he lied about your seal being copywritten, and it wasn't. It was an embarrassment to you, and it's a federal embarrassment. That lawsuit, that decision will be read infinitum. He embarrassed you. He's getting a raise. If he's not, let me know. That's my question. Who isn't getting a raise tonight? Thank you. Why don't you school him on the law?
Any other members of the public wishing to speak?
Pat Moschetti, New Providence. I have a series of questions regarding the salary changes for department heads and a suggestion. The first question is, what % of the salary changes for the department heads, and this can be an approximation, doesn't be exact, what % of the salary changes for department heads are negative to 0%? What % of the salary changes for department heads are positive up to 2%? And what % of the salary changes for the department heads are above 2%? And my suggestion here is, in a way to be transparent, for example, in a Republican-controlled municipality, New Providence, every time they have a salary resolution, which is several times a year, they have that accessible to anybody who is wishing to look at it, names and salaries. And then you can go up during the time of the meeting and discuss that, because you know what you see. What we have here is no transparency, because we have no names, we have no dollar amounts. And so if you want to take an example of good municipal or government management, you would show transparency of the salaries that are being changed. Thank you.
Any other members of the public wishing to speak? Seeing none, County Manager, do you want to tackle this ordinance?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. The proposed ordinance for adoption provides a 2% salary increase for all departments heads except the deputy county manager. We feel that these increases are in line with 2%, which has been a part of our negotiated agreements with our unions. Thank you.
County Manager, were the salaries, was the ordinance published in accordance to the law?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any members of the board wishing to comment on the ordinance? Seeing none, I ask Freeholder John.
Yes, I'll move ordinance 757, 2014 for final reading and authorize the clerk of the board to advertise same in accordance with the law.
We have, motion was made by Freeholder Jallo and seconded by Freeholder Mirabella. Mr. Clerk, please read the roll.
Freeholder Bergen.
Yes.
Freeholder Granados.
Yes.
Freeholder Kowalski. Freeholder Mirabella. Freeholder Wright.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Jallo.
Aye.
And Chairman Hudak.
Aye.
Chairman, you have 7 votes in the affirmative.
We have a second ordinance for, sorry, were you reading those? I'm sorry. Mr. Clerk, can you please read ordinance 758-2014?
Ordinance for introduction, ordinance number 758, 2014, bond ordinance to authorize the making of various public improvements in, by, and for the County of Union, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $6,742,000 to pay the cost thereof, to make a down payment, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to ask the Vice Chairman to move the ordinance.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move ordinance number 758, 2014 for first reading and authorizing the clerk of the board to advertise same in accordance with the law.
Thank you, Matt. Motion was seconded by motion was made by the Vice Chairman, and it was seconded by Freeholder Kowalski. Clerk of the board, please read the roll call.
Freeholder Bergen.
Yes.
Freeholder Granados.
Yes.
Freeholder Kowalski.
Yes.
Freeholder Mirabella.
Aye.
Freeholder Wright.
Yes.
Chairman Jallo.
Aye.
And Chairman Hudak.
Aye.
Chairman, that's 7 votes in the affirmative.
Thank you. And now I want to open up the floor to public comment only on resolutions 2014-567 to 2014-640. Please state your name and town of residence when you come to the microphone.
Okay, John Berry of Kenilworth. 3 things here. First, on this 599, that Mizell Park basketball court, what are the particulars of that? Like, is it going to be 2 full courts or half courts, and where's it going to be at the park? And when do you think it's going to open? Because I don't know where you'd stick a basketball court there. I'm just curious on that. Second is pretty much about 30% of the resolutions, from 620 all the way to 629, with this Sequan Fowler versus UC hiring 10 separate law firms. A lot of them familiar names. I mean, campaign donors: Colodzi, Palumbo, Dowd. Oh boy, LaCourte, Bundy, a lot of them. What again is the rationale for hiring 10 separate lawyers at $10,000 each? Because I asked, because right underneath 630, there's a resolution hiring Baus, Zucker, Hatfield for some Runnels. Barbara Egger, I guess she's a nurse over there, is suing Runnels for something. I mean, if you can go into what she's suing for, I'd like that too. But the point I'm making here is Baus, Zucker are the lawyers who work with the UCIA. I mean, at least they get money from them, or UCIA, UCUA, whatever, and they're running runos. So they're directly involved in runos, and yet they're representing here, while these 10 other lawyers, you're probably going to say are, you can't have county lawyers on them because there'd be some conflict. But Bausuker seems to have a direct conflict, and they're still, given their $10,000. And the last part is just on the runos, wherever those resolutions you stuck here. Where is it? 578 through 582, we're paying for all those runos things. Didn't runos get bought by the UCIA? And it looks like these are going for an extra year or so. So why is not the person who bought them paying for this stuff? Or is this part of the deal? It's just confusing as to why you got what these 5 runos payments are for. All right, that was it.
Thank you. In regards to 599, I'll ask the Deputy County, I'll ask Director Zuber to come on up. Very eager.
Through you, Chairman. The basketball courts are going to be in the back where the back of the scoreboard is behind the track and football field. We don't have a date of completion yet. We're awaiting a construction meeting with Halcon. Once we meet with them, we'll have a better forecast of when the courts will be done.
Thank you, Director. County Council, do you want to take on 620 to 629?
Sure. The reason is that this is a litigation that involves multiple defendants, I believe a total of 14. We have reviewed that complaint and as much information as we have at the preliminary stage. There is my determination that there is a potential for conflicts between a variety of defendants, and as a result of which each and every one of them, not each and every one, but where I could couple defendants together, I did, and where individuals should stand alone and be represented, I did that as well. On the Bausuker, I don't see there's any conflict. There's misinformation apparently out. The UCIA does not own Runnels Hospital. Runnels Hospital is still owned and operated by the county, and I'm not aware of any conflict.
Thank you, County Council. And then, I guess just generally, there was comments regarding the resolutions for Runnels County Manager. Do you want to just step up and give a brief explanation on those?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, just to kind of expound on Mr. Barry's comments, Runnels continues to be owned and operated by the County of Union. Therefore, there are day-to-day functions and services that need to continue to be provided by the county. These contracts are all subject to a 30-day termination provision when the actual sale takes place.
Thank you, County Manager. Anyone else wishing to speak on resolutions offered for adoption?
Good evening, Chairman Hudak, ladies and gentlemen of the Freeholder Board, Bruce Patterson, Garwood. On page 4, number 583, I'm going to reiterate that this obviously goes with the ordinance that was in the front, increasing salaries. I asked the question of who and how much is the salaries, because our budget now is over $500 million, and I'd like the names and the salaries. That obviously plays into the cost of the budget. Page 5, number 588, near the top, you're giving a contract to T&M Associates or T&M Engineering for compliance and consulting services for the amount of $136,000. This is a major political donor to the freeholders and the other county crony campaigns. $94,000 in 4 years. And you guys should be excited about giving them this $136,000. What it is workplace health, safety, compliance, and consulting services. It's nothing. Nobody needs this. You might as well cancel it, please. Except that, I guess when you look back, in 2010, T&M gave the freeholders directly $15.6 thousand into their campaign. 2011 gave $15.6 thousand. 2012 gave $12.8 thousand. 2013 gave $15.6 thousand. So I guess you guys should really be excited about voting for this one, because it looks like you're going to get another $15,000 coming up. On the bottom, 594, page 5, a change order for a credit of $181,000. I'd like to know why it's a credit, and also I'm thanking you for at least saving that much money. Page 6, 596, professional engineering contract to CME Associates for $183,000. CME, another political donor, to the county and its cronies, $123,000 in 4 years. 597, Phase 2 of road resurfacing. I've been talking about this since the budget. You guys took $1 million out of the budget to create a brand-new division just to give your county political boss, Fanwood Mayor Marr, a nice job because she was employed maybe 2 out of 10 years, so I guess she needed something. So, from now on, I'm calling her Mayor Pothole because obviously all the potholes out there won't get filled. 598 on that page, Aneta Architects getting an additional $57,000. I'm not even bothered. It's a justice complex. Aneta gives $14,000 to the county and its cronies in 4 years. Mr. Burry mentioned this. 620, there's a lot of legal things that Mr. Barry explained, but number 620, Palumbo and Renaud. They gave $39,000 in 4 years. Kaloji and Simmons gave $18,000 in 4 years. Florio gave $8,000 in 4 years. Weber Dowd gave $10,000 in 4 years. Mr. Burry mentioned political donors. I'm just following up with the dollar amounts. Number 629, LaCourte Bundy gave $21,000 in 4 years. And Bauk Zucker gave $43,000 in 4 years. Nice political donation. I can see why you guys want to spread it out and give it to all these guys. They're donating. It's like a gravy train for you guys in your campaigns. Number 631 on page 10. And Freeholder Carter brought this up in the last agenda-setting meeting. But this is the UCIA. It looks like you're giving another $282,000 to them for Runnels Specialized Hospital. She said the numbers don't add up. I really didn't hear an answer, and so I'm following up on Freeholder Carter's question. These numbers don't add up. What is this $282,000? Is some not to exceed $350? Somehow it's a lot bigger than that. Thank you very much.
Well, not many questions there, but I do want to bring up Director Albert in regard to 588, not really in regards to T&M, but what exactly they do for this particular contract.
Workplace safety, Freeholder through you, Chairman. Compliance with workplace safety standards, training of employees, loss prevention services, risk management, their on-call response, help with compliance audits to the state and the federal government, updates to our hazard communication plans, a variety of services. It went out for an RFP. They were the successful responder. It was considered by, they were the only responder. Committee chose them, and the price is $500 less than last year.
What was the contract in the previous year? Just out of curiosity. You know what the contract for the same service was last year?
Yes, $136,000.
How much was spent of that 100?
Or $136,500. This year it's $136,000.
Thank you. County Council, do you want to give an explanation of 631?
Certainly, Mr. Chairman. With reference to that, what happened was last year we entered into a memorandum of understanding and authorized the sum not to exceed $100,000. That was under the 2013 budget. We expended, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere in the area of $68,000 with a carryover of $32,000. So if you take the $68,000 that you expended last year, carry over that $32,000, which brings you $250 plus the $32 is $82. Add the $68 and the $282 together, it's a total of not to exceed $350,000.
Who's the Deputy County Manager? Bill, come up and just tell us about saving money on 594.
Chairman, if I can bring up Tom Minio to explain the savings for the project. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, the project is for the road project, and the way you bid a project like that is you have estimated quantities of various things that are required for the project, such as the curbs, the topping, et cetera. And at the end of the day, though, what actually gets installed is the final price. And so this was just a little below what the estimate was, so we got the money back.
Good news. Thank you. Any other members of the public wishing to comment on resolutions?
Nancy Peeble, 1129 Myrtle Avenue, Plainfield. I have one short statement on 567 about the USGA donation to support Hook a Kid on Golf. Most of you know that I'm a local historian. Just to let the children know that it was a Union County resident that is considered the pioneer of handicapping in the United States. His name was Leighton Calkins, and he was the former mayor of the city of Plainfield. And he's buried in our county in Hillside Cemetery. I'm here tonight to get a clarification and get a fact-finding about ordinance resolutions 607 and 608 about ambulance being provided by the county, which is a good thing, except that the Courier News reported yesterday, and they're giving most of the credit to JFK. And my question to you is the county providing one ambulance or two ambulances? Because the way the article was written is the intent, if the county is the one that's doing the benefit of the residents, we need to hear that and not the other way around. Because if you read yesterday's Courier News, the perception in Plainfield is that it's JFK providing the ambulances and not the county. So are you providing one or two ambulances or none?
Director Moran, there he is. Andy, would you be kind enough to give an overview of the program, please?
Certainly, Chairman. Through you, the county will be placing one ambulance full-time in Plainfield. That will be available to surrounding municipalities also. Plainfield Rescue Squad will still have an ambulance 24/7 at the same location in Plainfield. The calls will be dispatched by our regional dispatch center that will be able to coordinate the closest ambulance. And JFK, if they are the closest ambulance, an appropriate ambulance to respond to an emergency, they will be sent, just like we use Atlantic or Trinitas to back up our local rescue squads across the county. And we also have, depending on the time of day and our staffing levels, we have ambulances in Westfield. So you may see more than one Union County ambulance in any particular municipality at any specific time, depending on the emergency route and the call volume going on at that time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, Freeholder Kowalski, did you want to say something?
You're basically, I missed part of this, but we are providing one ambulance and JFK is providing another ambulance, is that what or this is part of our whole program?
It's really a collaborative effort on the part of JFK, the Plainfield Rescue Squad, and the county to make resources available, to cover the amount of emergency calls that they're having in Plainfield and the surrounding areas.
Chairman, if I
Yes,
may,
you may.
correct me if I'm wrong, Director, but the county will be the lead agency in this initiative. Is that correct?
That is correct. This will be coordinated through our dispatch center.
Freeholder Mirabel?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director, from a financial standpoint, the overall program that we implemented several years ago more than breaks even, in fact, makes money. Is that the case that you believe will happen with this additional ambulance in Plainfield?
Yeah, we looked at our accounts receivable and the revenue that we're bringing in per call, and based on our projected call volume that we'll be seeing in Plainfield, we think that will cover our costs for this additional service.
Good, thank you.
And again, if I may, as per your directive at last week's agenda meeting, Chairman, the Director will be providing regular updates to the Board on the progress of this program.
Thank you, County Manager. Anyone else? Thank you, Andy.
Thank you.
Any members of the public wishing to speak? Any other members of the public wishing to speak? Ma'am, just if you're first time here, you just come up when there's a gap, but it's on resolutions only at this time. Go ahead.
Good evening again. Pat Moschetti, New Providence. Page 5. Again, Resolution 588. I guess we just were made aware that this was a program that took place last year. A couple of questions I have is, do we have to do this every year? How much compliance and health and safety do we have to teach each of the employees over and over again? And if we do need to do it over and over again, can we have train-the-trainer programs? We have people in the department who are trained so that next year they can train others. That's done a lot of times in schools and profit organizations. They train themselves so that they can train others. So you don't have to have consultants come in. Because this is roughly, if it's on a salary basis, so a year basis, and it's almost 2 full-time employees. That's a lot of compliance and consulting. And why are they doing so much? Are the employees not able to understand what they need to do, that they have to have this constantly? Resolutions 620 through 629, that's the Shaquan Fowler activity. I guess the county is involved, the detention center, and various individuals. This sounds like a gigantic thing that I'm very concerned about because it's touching a lot of people, or it sounds like a lot of things could have gone amiss. And also, through experience, we tend to have these activities say not to exceed $10,000, but 3 or 4 months down the line, we're having another resolution to chip in another $5,000, another $10,000. Before you know it, this could be $250,000. So what is generating this type of need, or what are we not doing to stop something like this from happening? And my last one is Resolution 632. It's a lot of money regarding Work First New Jersey programs for job placement, transitional employment, education, training, and so forth. If someone could educate the community, the citizens, what are the first half-year results? Now we're in the second half of the year, in terms of how many people have been in the program that are being trained or being helped, transitioned, how many have been trained, and how many are actually working as a result of all this training and help. Thank you.
Ma'am, just give me one moment. I'm just going to answer some of those questions. In regards to 632, Bill, you want to come up?
Thank you, Chairman. The program actually runs through a fiscal year, so we actually just started. So the numbers I'm going to give are from last year, from the previous fiscal year. And we don't count individuals, but we count our activities. So for this funding for last year, we had under the TANF program, which is a temporary assistance for needy families, we had 1,450 activities. And under general assistance and supplemental nutrition assistance program, which is SNAP, the old food stamp program, we had 1,150 activities. The reason why we count activities and not people is because if you go through the program, you can go through several different exercises or activities. So one person could actually do 3 different activities. So that's why we count activities versus actual participants in the program. And basically what this program is really it really enhances and trains basic skills so people can go into the workforce. If you remember, a few weeks ago, we had a different workforce program, and that was for individuals who are underemployed, who have lost their jobs, and need some additional training. This program is really for entry level. This is what, if you're going to participate in either the TANF, the GA, or the SNAP program, you're required to come through and participate in some of these activities. So this is what this funding does for literally starting this year, this new fiscal year.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Director Albert, do you have anything to add on 588?
I'll try, through you, Mr. Chair. We perform 52 compliance audits for our facilities every year, 180 update plans. There's education and training on OSHA and other department-specific topics, injury trends, safety meetings. There's at least 35 annual.
They conduct the meetings.
What's that?
They conduct the meetings?
Yes, and we participate in the meetings. We share the data.
They're training us, correct?
Yes, yes.
But we don't pay to have them come train us, right?
No, no, and they train every department, and there are ongoing compliance requirements. So we meet monthly. We meet monthly, and they meet with the Correction Safety Committee, the Labor Safety Committee, the Executive Safety Committee, each of those monthly. So, it's an intensive program.
Thank you. Any other members of the public wishing to speak? No? Tried a few times to get up.
My name is Jennifer Medford, and I am a former captain of 2005 of Plainfield Rescue Squad. I am also a life member of Plainfield Rescue Squad. I've been riding since 1985. I don't ride anymore, obviously, because I have injuries. My question to you is, we appreciate the fact that the county wants to help. However, we don't know if the agreement that you entered into was in accordance with the Constitution and bylaws of the Plainfield Rescue Squad. We're also concerned about the billing, because when we billed our citizens, we've only billed the insurance. We never went after them for collections. Whatever we got from our citizens from their insurance companies, that's what we took to assist us in keeping running. So I don't know what the future plans for the county being in Plainfield is. And I also am not sure if you're aware that Plainfield runs 6,000 calls a year. So even if you put a JFK bus there and have a Plainfield bus there, as well as a county bus there, there are sometimes times in Plainfield where we can have up to 5-6 calls running at one time. It's not a slow town at all. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Director Moran, do you mind coming up and addressing how our billing procedure works?
Certainly. Through you, Chairman, we have been working over the past few months very closely with Plainfield Police Director, the Plainfield Rescue Squad Captain. We've had several meetings both in Plainfield and in my office in Westfield. Since the inception of this program, it's always been a county policy for county residents that we would accept insurance payment as payment in full. We don't balance bill the patient. They don't see any additional cost other than what their insurance pays.
Thank you, Director.
Thank you.
And ma'am, on behalf of the board, just for the folks in Plainfield, I think we're happy to assist. We're working with the town on this particular issue, so I think we're very happy to assist in any way we can, as we do with this program, this shared service program, as well as our dispatch. where communities, have come to us over time because there's a need. We're happy to provide whatever assistance we
We
can.
understand there's a need, but the problem is that when the rescue squad never asked any of its former members for assistance.
I understand that. Any other members of the comments? And folks, just after the meeting, if you want to, Director Moran will make himself available to you to answer any questions you have beyond what you were able to say in your few moments. Ma'am, would you kindly just speak and pull the
Oh, sure.
microphone down? Oh, if you can pull it down. There you go.
Stand on my toes. I didn't put heels on. Yeah, Sue Kesson, Plainfield. I was the director and administrator of the Plainfield Rescue Squad for a number of years, life member as well. My question is, are you sure that the people who authorized you to do this were authorized to do such? In other words, although you're dealing with the captain, I don't believe he's been elected captain. I think it's a violation of the bylaws, from what I've understood and what I've read. I just heard about this myself. I myself have offered to help. I was never consulted to do so. The other thing is that in putting an ambulance at the rescue squad, is there any remuneration going back to the squad for supplying any sort of services to the ambulance? If you're going to vote on it tonight, I just wanted to make some of these things aware. If not, we can certainly talk to Director Moran. That's not a problem. But if you're going to authorize it tonight, that's why we came here to well-informed. And we're well-informed as well, because it's very nebulous as far as what we've read. Okay? We certainly understand putting an ambulance and assisting. But I myself and a number of people have offered to help, offered to come in there, offered to ride. And we've not been told about this until we read about it in the paper, which is unfortunate. Thank you for your time.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. And again, Director Moran's available. He can talk and address any concerns you have over the ambulance program. Andy, did you have anything you wanted to add, or?
Through you, Chairman, I wasn't aware that certain members of the rescue squad weren't informed of this process, but certainly since January we've had several meetings, and
Including the city.
including the city and the rescue squad. Their captain has been in attendance, and the resolutions that are before you today were put together as a result of those conversations and those meetings with the rescue squad.
Thank you, Andy. Any other members of, I'm sorry, County Council?
Just to add, the one agreement on the shared services agreement is with the city of Plainfield, and the other agreement, which is with the Plainfield Rescue Squad, certainly pursuant to our agreements, it's going to have to be a duly authorized representative of the organization to sign the agreement. That will be a requirement.
Thank you. Ma'am, I'm sorry. We can't do a back and forth from the audience. Sorry, we have to maintain the rules. Any other comments from the public regarding resolutions?
Tina Renna Cranford. You have 9 resolutions tonight, 620 through 629, stemming from a lawsuit by a juvenile who is alleging he was sexually abused at your juvenile detention center. Correct me if I'm wrong, you have freeholder liaisons for certain things, like, well, the happy stuff is covered, like the Open Space Trust Fund and things like that, so you could show up and take nice pictures. But is there a freeholder liaison to the jail and the juvenile detention center? Because I know for years I used to check that stuff and you didn't have one. I haven't checked this year, so if I'm wrong, if you can correct me. And if I am correct, if you don't have a liaison to the jail, to the juvenile detention center, someone that takes direct responsibility and meets with the department head and the division head and make sure everything's okay, and this is basically what, you ask anybody that's against county government, they will say this is basically the only thing we need county government to do is to run the jails, aside from the state taking them over. So, for years that I checked, you didn't have any freeholder liaison to the jail or the detention center, only the happy stuff. So if I'm wrong, if there's a liaison out there that keeps in touch with the jail. This isn't the only, lawsuit. There's been many lawsuits through the years. There's been a death there, a tragic death. I would have hoped you would have learned your lesson then. But no, I don't think you have a freeholder that specifically pays attention to what's going on in the jail and the JV Center. And after the death of Edward Sinclair, and it does have significance here, I did try to watchdog what was going on with the Juvenile Detention Center. And I went back and forth with the state. I even worked with Assemblyman Cryan, trying to gain access to some sort of system where our organization, the Union County Watchdog Association, would have routinely placed OPA requests for certain documents so we could keep an eye if there were any red flags of complaints or things of that nature happening at the detention center. It was pretty much impossible for many reasons, mostly because it's juvenile. So you are the only watchdogs of what's going on with those children that are locked up. Many of them are homeless, my understanding. They don't have family members watching over them. They have no one. Many of them are in the DIFAS system. Many of them are disabled. So I'm just reminding you, since you don't have a freeholder liaison, perhaps you're not aware of how it works there. But basically, it's the people you have in charge there, and then the state, which is supposed to be overseeing them. And honestly, I don't believe they're doing quite a good job. The only reason why the Edward Sinclair system came through, of course, there was a lawsuit, but there was also a child advocate at the time. There is no longer a child advocate, I don't believe. So I'm just reminding you your responsibility. You are in charge of these children's lives. You are in charge of these children's lives. Every single one of you are responsible for them. And I'm reminding you of that responsibility. Their lives and well-being are in your hands. And I have a general question. I'm not asking you to comment on this specific lawsuit. I know you won't do that. Through you, Chair, if you can ask your county council to give an overall explanation that when you decide to lawyer up all the people that are mentioned, and I'm sorry, you didn't lawyer up your director and associate director who retired. So I didn't even read the suit. It's not fresh in my mind anyway. I don't know if they're mentioned in it, but I see that you didn't get them attorneys. But if you can let us know that you look this over, when something like this happens, if you look into it and you decide that these people are worthy of defending and not firing, or if you wait for everything to shake out and then you decide, because this is going to be millions of dollars. This is just getting warmed up, and it's a serious charge. So if you can explain to the public how that system works, how you decide to lawyer up certain people, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Director Gozo?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. As the last speaker indicated, there have been problems with the detention center over the years, and as she's well aware, many OPRAs took place on the detention monitoring unit for all of the monitoring reports that were going on at the time. That mechanism is still there today, and as the speaker knows, still has the ability to OPRA those reports. She received many of them in the past. Also realizes and knows that there is a oversight that is provided through the Juvenile Justice Commission, which is an arm of the Attorney General's office. They monitor us regularly. They check for compliance, suicide prevention, and every facet of how you operate a facility in the state of New Jersey. While we can't speak, and I will not speak, I know better than I'm on a pending lawsuit. Most of those kids are not DIFAS kids. They are not under DIFAS care. They are part of the juvenile justice system. They are there for various reasons. Some of them are, in fact, homeless. They deserve the proper care and custody when they're with us. We do the best that we can, and we've done a good job changing the way that we operated in the past. And you know, my final comment would be that everyone has a right to their opinion. They have a right to be truthful, and they have a right to spell the facts as they are. as I have a responsibility when I got up here to tell the truth about it when you asked me and when someone asked me from the public. We all have that responsibility to be honest when we address you and the general public at this mic. I try to do it. I would expect the same from anyone else that comes up here. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Any other members of the public wishing to speak on resolutions up for adoption?
Mr. Chairman, Richard Lenahan, Scotch Plains. Looking at Resolution 583, I was wondering if the board can describe to me what it means, internal position control schedules of the budget. What does that mean to change and/or adjust the internal position control schedules?
Is that your only question, sir?
No, I have another question, if I may.
Finish your comments, and then.
That's my place. Resolution 576. Amendment to increase the overall spending by $250,000. Can you tell me what the original plan was and how much of a percentage increase that is? And how is that going to be monitored, and who's going to oversee that?
Is that it, sir?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. 583, County Council, County Manager, who wants to take that one? That's just an explanation on position controls.
Position control would be any document reflecting a change of title, change of grade, change of salary. Pretty much covers
Any of the conditions of employment, sir. 576, Director Guzzo, can you just give, do you have any background on the SHRAP grant? Or SHRAP program? It's 576.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, as the board would recall, this money was directly came to the counties for anyone that was affected by Sandy. As you know from previous resolutions, what the state had decided to do, they decided to reallocate dollars to those areas targeted and with the most incidents. So you've had resolutions previously where money was reduced from the county and it went towards Ocean County and the southern area of the state in order to accommodate them, with the promise that when there was a need, money would come back in based on what our needs were. So what you see now is you see a resolution where some of that money is coming back in based on what we see. So $250,000 is coming back in to handle claims that have come in as a result of meeting through the nonprofit agencies. And as the state has promised, when we can demonstrate that there is need, then we'll have another resolution amending, adding more money as we go forward.
Thank you, Director. Any other members of the public wishing to speak on resolutions? I'm sorry, sir, you only get one time to come up. Seeing none, I'll close that portion of the meeting, and may I have a motion to adopt resolutions 2014-567 to 2014-640?
So moved.
Motion was made by the Vice Chairman and was seconded by Freeholder Kowalski. Mr. Clerk, kindly read the roll call.
Freeholder Bergen.
Mr. Clerk, I abstain on resolutions 2014-569, 571, 573, 574, and 575, and vote yes as to all others.
Freeholder Granados.
Yes, Paul.
Freeholder Kowalski.
Yes.
Freeholder Mirabella. Freeholder Wright.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Jallo.
Aye.
Chairman Hudak.
At all.
Chairman, you have 7 votes in the affirmative, with the exception of the following resolutions, with a 6th vote in the affirmative with 1 abstention. Those resolutions are Resolution 2014-569, 2014-571, 2014-573, 2014-574, and 2014-575.
Thank you. Meeting is now open to the public for purposes of commenting on any matter. Kindly state your name and town of residence for the record, and there is a 5-minute time limit.
Pat Moschetti, New Providence. Now that we're one half through the calendar year, I would like each department head who's present today to come up to the podium and make the public aware of their department's top 3 achievements year to date. Be wonderful for them to let us know what their departments are doing and how well they're doing. And the 3 top achievements should be right at the top of their heads. So I don't think it would be a tough assignment. My suggestion that now you can start for the next year budget is to seriously look into merging the Sheriff's Office and Union County Police Forces for the next year's budget. 19 of 21 New Jersey counties have done so in the past. Union County and Bergen County are the lone holdouts. Bergen County tried it a few years ago, and through the political demise, logic did not rule out. So I suggest that you look into it again. I believe in some public forum, Sheriff Froelich thought that that was a good idea. You may want to ask him again. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members of the public wishing to comment?
Good evening, Chairman Hudak, ladies and gentlemen of the Freeholder Board, Bruce Patterson Garwood. Just to start off, this is the 3rd time I'm going to be asking what list the directors. Somebody must list the directors and the salaries they are making so we understand why we're now at a $500 million budget. This is the 3rd time. Unsure if the county is actually afraid to answer that. Moving along. And I'm going to return back to what I've been talking about all year, about political bosses and how they are destructive and wasteful in all the different levels of county that they appear. And I just want to point out, there's been recent revelations that came up in the last month or so. One of them is on YouTube, actually, and you may be aware of this already, and it's political boss Jerry Green, political boss of Plainfield. He's on YouTube, and to the public who's listening, I mean, you can easily just go to YouTube, punch in Election Day tirade, and it'll come up. Watch that clip. It's very interesting. What you will see is political boss Jerry Green, who's also assemblyman, by the way, yelling at somebody about Plainfield and that he owns this mother effing town. He owns this mother effing town. What does that mean? That's a good question. Why did he say that? He's actually supposed to represent people, but he owns them. Now, that actually comes to be interesting because Freeholder Jala and Freeholder Carter is from Plainfield. So what he's saying is he actually owns Jala and Carter. To me, I mean, it sure sounds like an indentured servitude of some type, and we're celebrating the 150th year of the Civil War. I think you should be outraged. Freeholder Jolly, you should be outraged. I think you better say something about this because he owns you.
Excuse me, sir. Direct your comments to the chair.
Okay, through you.
You're wrong. And you're mostly incorrect in all your statements.
To continue. Something came up on Hudak as political boss. And a while ago, there was a guy that came up saying that he was on the Linden polls as a poll worker for 20 years, and he was suddenly let go. It turns out there's actually 8 poll workers in the 4th ward that was let go, and that was Derek Armstead's. That's his ward that he was running for mayor against the political boss of Linden, who just so happens to be Chairman Hudak, his candidate. And somehow there was some kind of political jihad going on with those election workers, which is a shame. Let's quote Freeholder Hudak. He says, the municipal chairman, who's the political boss, that's my words, partisan office, has no relation to my freeholder position and has the ability to appoint up to 2 positions. That's per ward, so it's 8 positions. It has nothing to do with my position here as being freeholder. However, he's saying it's not being linked, but I looked at, there's a political flyer for a fundraiser before the primary, and there it is, big as new. I mean, Freeholder Hudak is actually linking himself to both, to the Linden Democrat chair and the Union County Freeholder chair. So, I mean, you yourself are actually linking these together. So to me, that's telling me they're inexplicably linked, and there's no break. During that campaign, Armistead, who was your political opponent on the Democrat primary, or your candidate's political opponent, he actually came out with a flyer saying that when he was deciding to run for mayor, he had a discussion with you, and you actually said, if you become mayor, I want you to appoint me to be business administrator of Linden. Now, that sounds funky. I mean, and you denied it. In the paper, you said, oh, I can't be business administrator of Linden because I couldn't be political boss at the same time. Well, the very easy explanation is you become business administrator, you step down from being political boss. And there you are. You have a nice, big, cushy job. So we're talking about something where you have a single character. The single character is the freeholder character and the political boss character. That political boss character is obviously shady, underhanded, trying to connive, self-serve, and you can't spread that between 2 different positions. So the integrity, the character is definitely in question.
Thank you for
You're
your
a political boss, you will remain a political boss, and you are inextricably linked to be a political boss. Thank you very much.
Any other members of the public wishing?
Nancy Pivovar, 1129 Myrtle Avenue, Plainfield. I know through the chair and board of freeholders, I know that the Parks Department is aware. However, I want to make you even more public aware of the condition of some of the trees in Greenbrook Park. There's at least 3 of them that are dead along Park Drive. One of them fell during one of the last storms, and the night that the fireworks were going off in Cedarbrook Park, the men were trying to clear and open the Park Drive prior to the fireworks in Cedarbrook Park. So Greenbrook Park needs some attention. The pond needs some attention. A lot of people utilize the brand new playground area. There's always children playing down there. The park is attractive to a lot of area residents. I also went past the monument that the plaque is missing from. I personally put the flowers there on the flags, and today I noticed that the park's employees did a wonderful job in putting down mulch and pulling the weeds for me, because I was going to go and do it, and now I don't have to do it, but I appreciate that at least somebody cares. We still don't have the plaque back, but I do have people in the area that whenever I'm down there, they ask me about it, and we have to work with the DAR to try to get the plaque back at some point, because that was the militia post. And my other concern is I hope that perhaps you can call the Courier News and try to get them to be more conscious of the contribution that you're providing to the city about an ambulance. I know the dire need that the people are in the area, and I do hope that these ladies who got up here before, that their issues are addressed, because they brought up some real interesting comments. But there is a healthcare need. We are a healthcare desert. We have people have a food desert. We have a healthcare desert in the city of Plainfield now. A lot of the doctors have left. We're forced to travel outside of the county in order to get good medical care. And I'm talking north and west. We're not going to the south. I'm sorry. A lot of us will not go there. The horror stories that we hear from the residents are amazing. I know that satellite emergency center gets at least 16,000 visits a year. When they had the hospital open, it was approximately 24,000. So the need is there. Usually when a hospital closes, emergency visits drop off, but not in the city of Plainfield. They have remained pretty constant, and it's a serious need, and I do appreciate the fact that you are providing an ambulance, but I do hope that these ladies' issues are addressed. Thank you.
Tina Rana Cranford, if your department head would like to explain what I was being dishonest about before, I might be misinformed. I didn't mean to be dishonest. He can correct me. The way I listened to what he said, although allegedly this boy was raped for 10 months, there were reports that because I didn't Oprah them, no one read them. Is that what I'm understanding? That there was no one in charge to read these reports? And if I had, I would have read about it and been able to bring that to your attention. Again, you need a freeholder liaison to the jail and detention center. You need that today. You need that. You're being dishonest if you do not do that. Which brings me to the Union County Utilities Authority, who I found after reviewing their check registry that their executive director, assistant director, and other employees were getting checks written to them. The commissioners had no idea what was going on until I brought it to their attention. Is that my job to do in my spare time? I don't get a government paycheck. I don't get a dime to do what I do. It comes down to a citizen searching for a needle in the haystack, doing routine investigative work to find these things out, to bring it to the public's attention. No one's held accountable. The controller was given 5 days suspension. The executive director found that he was doing nothing wrong. He just has to pay back the money. He's your former colleague, Freeholder Sullivan. He's a 20-year freeholder. He didn't know how to appropriate funds correctly. What was his qualifications for this position? He's in over his head. He's not qualified for this job. The Union County Improvement Authority now has a resolution on their next agenda to hire an assistant for him, to assist him. So this is, you know what, I apologize to Charlotte DiFilippo. I am sorry, Ms. DiFilippo. I am sorry. This all came from her replacement, just one person being replaced. One person. The employees stayed on. It was just her that was replaced, and all this stipend scandal came about. Now we need an assistant to the director because she was replaced. Dan Sullivan is not the correct person for the job, and I would like to see the freeholders hold him accountable for that. At the very least, you should demand total responsibility. That report should be released to the public. You should be asking the prosecutor's office to look at the report, make sure it's okay. You should be calling for the prosecutor's office to do that. I shouldn't be calling the FBI. I shouldn't be calling the Department of Community Affairs. I shouldn't be wasting my free time to do that. It is not my responsibility. It is your responsibility. You are responsible for this. Whatever happened at the Utilities Authority is a reflection on all of you because you are responsible for that. You are responsible for Daniel Sullivan because you appointed him. You are responsible for him. The buck stops here. He was his only job qualification was that he was a manager of motor vehicles. He didn't know how to appropriately pay a public employee. We don't know if taxes were taken out of that, if that was done correctly. No timesheets were kept on how much time they were working on the Improvement Authority. Commissioners should be held accountable. You should change them up. They've been there forever. Change them up. Put some fresh suits in there. Certainly Commissioner Jackas, who was signing the stipend checks and also approving the paid bills list. What happened, if you haven't read the blog, which I detailed, put a lot of work into it. It was not on the paid bills list, which they approved. It was in the check registry. So I could see how they could say they didn't know about it. But you guys certainly know about it. It shouldn't be a citizen overseeing government to this extent when you're getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars in director salaries. Your directors should be responsible for their underlings. You are responsible for the directors, specifically the jail. I would like to see someone step up and take responsibility, at least for that detention center. Those kids, a lot of them, the only way the public hears about these things is if there's a lawsuit filed, and if a prisoner or a kid in the detention center doesn't have family looking out for him, there's no one to file a lawsuit.
Thank you.
They're your responsibility.
Any other members of the public wishing to speak?
Jim Bittner, Cranford. Following up on the UCIA, UCUA scandal,
Chairman Hudak, you are the liaison of the Freeholder Board to that organization or that authority. Will you be doing a presentation to the residents of Union County exactly as what the findings were and asking for the report to be made final that was accepted last night by that board? Thank you.
Any other members of the common public wishing to speak?
Jennifer Medford, Plainfield. I just wanted you to consider wholeheartedly that in 1950, 10 men got together and decided they wanted something special for their town. Doesn't mean that the people who are there don't care. They just don't care appropriately for the citizens of Plainfield like we did. Unfortunately, I can never ride an ambulance again. But I don't want to see my squad go down or be taken from the members for which it belongs. The Constitution and bylaws have never been changed since 1950, and they are being abused. And I want you to be fully aware before anyone takes that squad. That squad only went paid, what year, Sue? In early 2000. So that means from 1950 to 2000, that was a volunteer squad built on the donations and the monies from the citizens of Plainfield, including my father, who worked very hard for the government and made sure he made his donation check every time the envelope came around. And even when I was putting my time in, he was still giving his donation. So I just want you to consider that and understand that there are people that care, but we're not being asked to help. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other members of the public wishing to speak? Seeing none, I will close that portion of the meeting, and we'll move to freeholder comments and reports, and I'll start with Freeholder Burke.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a lot to talk about tonight, so I'm going to try. I'm only really going to hit on a couple things. I'm going to try and do happy things, if the public doesn't mind. While we were sitting here, I got an email from Dan Aschenbach, who is the head of the Mayor's Committee for Flood Control, which represents all of the towns along the Rollway River, both in Essex and Union County. And he announced that the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection has recommended to the United States Army Corps of Engineers what's known as alternates 4 and 7A for further study to help stop the flooding along the Rollway River. Those are the two proposals that group had endorsed and that this Freeholder Board as well has endorsed. So it is another important step forward towards hopefully getting this project built sometime in the not quite so distant future. So I was very happy to receive that email while I'm sitting here. I also wanted to mention that earlier this week, Freeholder Kowalski and I had an opportunity to celebrate Bastille Day in a very special way, and that was in dedicating Union County's portion of the Washington-Rochambeau revolutionary route. And for those of you who don't know, and I certainly didn't know about this until recently, it is a part of the national park system. It runs from Rhode Island to Virginia, through Union County. I forgot, it runs through Westfield, Mountainside, Springfield, Summit. In any case, it runs through towns in Union County. It is a 700-mile-long trail dedicated to the French assistance to the colonies in winning the Revolutionary War. Union County is the first county in New Jersey to dedicate this path. It does run through Echo Lake Park, and so that's where we dedicated it, but there will be signs through the other municipalities where it runs. I suggest people take a look either at our website, ucnj.org, and find the portion dedicated to this, or you can go to the National Park Service website, nps.gov, and get some more information about it. It really is an important part of New Jersey's history, and it runs right here through Union County. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Freeholder, Gonzalez.
Yes, today I was proud to visit Union County College for the Freeholder Board's College for Teens program. Since it started 12 years ago, there's been over 800 students taking part in this program. Today I got to visit with students taking part in financial marketing and healthcare courses. It's definitely a great way for them to learn about what's the future and what are they looking into when it comes to job employment and when you're going off to college. They were really ecstatic about being able to participate in this program. The individual I talked to really were interested in going into healthcare field, so they were really involved, talking to Dr. McMenamin and talking to different professors there. They got a real insight what it is to be in the healthcare field and in the financial marketing field. So I was definitely happy to be participating in that program. And also in reference to the food voucher program, we have our Jersey Fresh program that's still taking place for eligible seniors, that it's been extended for 7 more dates in the month of August. For any eligible seniors, please visit Union County Division on Aging and Disability Resource Center, toll free at 1-888-280-8226, or visit online at ucnj.org for more information to see if you're eligible. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Freeholder. Freeholder Wright?
Yes. I'd like to remind Union County residents of our free child safety seat inspections program. The proper use of child safety seats is one of the simplest and the most effective models available for protecting the lives of our young children in the event of a motor vehicle accident. There are over 40 different types of car seats on the market today. No matter which one you choose, it must be installed and adjusted properly in order to be effective. That is why I encourage you to have your safety seat inspected by experts. The inspections help reveal possible defects in the child seat, point out installation errors, and teach parents how to install child seats properly. The child seat safety seat inspections are conducted at the AAA Car Care Center on Route 22 East in Springfield. For more information, you can call 908-789-6830, and that number again is 908-789-6830.
Thank you, Freeholder. Freeholder,
Thank you, Chairman. To add to Freeholder Burton's comments, the Washington Richmond Trail runs through the towns of Springfield, Summit, Westfield, Mountainside, and Scotch Plains, and quite a bit of it along busy streets, well-known thoroughfares from colonial times, which became well-trafficked streets today. But I do agree that it's an accomplishment to put up a sign to commemorate this historic cooperation that resulted in the American Revolution. So I encourage you to go there to take a look at how to look at the sign and enjoy our parks. Of course, we have a lot of things going on in our parks this summer, so have a look at the UCNJ.org website. I also would like to just say that it's a little disturbing to me that there have been so many questions about spending on health and safety training. There are a lot of places in this country, unfortunately, where health and safety training is not a priority. And those are generally the places where you hear about horrible industrial accidents, or places where someone was cleaning a piece of equipment, and even if there was a safety piece of equipment there, it was turned off. We do take very seriously our responsibility with our employees, and that's why I pay for health and safety training every year. And practice is cheaper than master, so I for one am going to continue to support that. Thank you, Chairman.
well said, Freeholder. Freeholder Mirabella?
No comments tonight, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Freeholder. County Council? Any
No comments, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
County Manager?
No comments, Mr. Chairman.
Right, the vice chair has to be excused for a few moments, so before we go into, we do have a need to go into executive session. Before we do that, just a couple of comments. I'd like to take the opportunity to update everyone on one of the Freeholder Board's initiatives this year, and that is the providing of free Wi-Fi service in our county parks this summer. Free Wi-Fi is now available at Wheeler Park by the pool, and Nomahegan Park Playground in Cranford. Wi-Fi will also be coming later this summer to Yolrick Pool in Rawway River Park, the Skating Center at Warnaco, and the Trailside Nature and Science Center at Watchung Reservation. Free Wi-Fi is part of the Freeholder Board's stewardship mission, of the historic county park system, which includes keeping our facilities up to date and welcoming a new generation of young people to our various attractions. I hope the opportunity to use the free Wi-Fi encourages you to visit our parks and inspires you to share your experiences through social media and other platforms. And finally, I just wanted to note, the terrible tragedy involving Officer Santiago, Melvin Santiago from Jersey City. Young man, a lot is said about law enforcement. Conversation often comes up about the county police, the county sheriff, and that's a policy debate. But we're dealing with individuals who are putting their lives on the line to defend our community and keep us safe and go into very dangerous situations. And that young man actually graduated from Stamler just a few months ago. So it's very unfortunate what happened, that someone would it's words can't even describe that sort of violent act to lure in an officer of the law who had sworn his life to protect his community to simply gun him down. It's repulsive, and it just hits home very much, especially when this young man was in our police academy only a few months ago. So our thoughts and prayers are with him and his family, and the community of Jersey City. And we should just remember, when we're talking about individuals who carry a badge and a gun, people who ride the ambulances, like the folks who are here today, very passionate. We understand that passion. They put themselves on the line for their community. The people who climb into burning buildings, that these individuals keep us safe, and they endanger themselves every day. So again, our thoughts and prayers with his family. And with that, we have a need to go into executive session. County Counsel, will you read your statement, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, a public body may go into executive session for the purpose of discussing certain enumerated subjects. This board now wishes to enter executive session for the purpose of discussing potential contract negotiations and attorney-client privilege communications relative to the agreement between the County of Union and Center Management Group. The minutes of the executive session shall be separated from the minutes of the open public session. Minutes of the executive session, redacted as appropriate and necessary, shall be available in approximately 30 days. The clerk to the board shall retain the original minutes till such time as the confidential limitations have been removed, at which time they shall be made available. Upon the affirmative vote of a majority of the members present, the board may retire to executive session. Upon the board's return, it will not take any formal action on the matters discussed.
Thank you. May I entertain a motion? Motion was made by Freeholder Mirabellan and was seconded by Freeholder Kowalski. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
We're in executive session. We'll just assume it's a yes. I'll take a motion to come back from executive session. Motion was made by Freeholder Mirabellan and seconded by Vice Chairman Giallo. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Great. Motion carries. County Counsel, any statement to read relative to our executive session?
No statement. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Any other business before the board? Anyone else? Anything? No, but I'll take a motion to...
moved.
Seconded.
Aye.
Not that fast, Fred. Motion was made by Freeholder Mirabellan, seconded by the Vice Chair. All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Very good. Gracias.